At Paris airport, a supersonic Concorde has just taken off. But now the plane is on fire and 109 people on board are facing peril. The next 69 seconds will be critical. 4:43 and 30 seconds. Concorde is struggling to remain in the air. It's only 30 meters off the ground and the crippled plane is on a collision course. The town of Gonesse and its 25,000 people lie directly in its path. Driving towards the petrol station she owns in Gonesse is Christine Turpin.
I was returning home when I saw a plane. It was Concorde, with fire coming out of the back of it. I slowed down, and I saw the plane in flames.
Captain Marty is running out of options. Concorde's left wing is disintegrating. Businessman Patrick Tess is directly in the plane's path.
I was in my office talking to an agency. The window faces the runway, and I was interrupted by an incredible noise. It was Concorde. It was on fire, and it was listing violently.
Concorde lurches to the left. The plane stalls and plunges to the ground. It's 4:45. It's the moment every air traffic controller dreads. Gilles Logelin reaches for his mic.
I've called the Air France and I said, Air France 4590, do you hear me?
Air France 4590, me recevez-vous?
I said it twice.
Air France 4590, me recevez-vous?
There was no answer.
The supersonic jet, loaded with fuel and 109 people on board, crashes right on top of a hotel on the outskirts of Gonesse. A terrifying fireball tears through the building. British teacher Alice Brooking has just checked into a first-floor room.
So I went straight for the door of the room that I was in. Saw all the flames, saw there was no way out via the stairs. I leapt across the room, leapt across the bed to the window. Saw, luckily, that the receptionist was already down in the car park underneath me, and he just said, "You have to jump."
At the same time, Christine Turpin also witnesses the explosion and fears the worst.
It fell, and from where I was, I thought it had landed on the gas station. And I thought because my daughter and the girl who works for me were there, that they were all dead.
As Christine Turpin drives in, a passenger armrest falls onto the petrol station. Within 8 minutes of the crash, dozens of fire engines and ambulances race to the scene. An appalling tragedy, not just for those on Concorde, but for those in the hotel. Regional Fire Chief Colonel Fabrice Chauvin leads the rescue.
Whilst driving, there were many things going through my mind. The important thing for me was to divide the operation into two separate parts. One, the aircraft crash, extinguishing the fire and the rescue of any survivors. And two, organising treatment for the wounded before they're evacuated to hospital.
The intensity of the fire is so great that it'll take 3 hours to bring it under control. As these TV news images show, the charred remains of the airliner and the hotel are unrecognizable. The rescue attempts are futile. 113 people die, 4 from the hotel and 109 passengers and crew in Concorde. Three generations of the Ike family are wiped out. The children's grandparents had wanted to treat the family to a holiday of a lifetime and had booked the Concorde flight. Schoolteachers Klaus and Margaret Frenson had saved for 20 years to fly on Concorde. Rescuers begin the gruesome task of pulling the bodies from the crash site. One of the hotel workers to die is a 19-year-old student, Kenza Rashid. She joined the staff of the Hotelissimo only the day before the crash to earn some holiday money. Another victim is chambermaid Devrani Chandang Singh. She dies leaving behind her 2 children. Most of the bodies are burned beyond recognition, and the forensic pathologists can only identify victims by their dental records. It's a harrowing time for the victims' relatives, like Jörg Meyer.
One of the more difficult things was the identification of my father and his partner. One has to say, nothing much remains of the passengers after an air crash. That was difficult.
Jörg will have to wait 2 weeks before pathologists identify the remains of his father.
That's how long we had to wait. You can imagine that that's not exactly easy, day after day.
The crash takes everyone by surprise. Concorde, the queen of the skies. The plane that makes supersonic travel a reality. People's dreams come true. Had never had a fatal accident. Until this moment. Now, by rewinding the events of that fateful day, and by going deep into the investigation, we can reveal what really happened. Cutting-edge computer simulation will take us where no camera can go, into the heart of the disaster zone. The French Bureau of Air Accidents send their top investigators. Using their data, we can now piece together the deadly chain of events to find out what really caused this terrible tragedy. As the investigation begins, nothing is off limits. Did pilot Captain Marty make a fatal error? Or was there a fault hidden within the perfect plane? Investigators make routine checks of the passenger and luggage lists. Immediately, they find something suspicious. 19 pieces of luggage that, according to the loading report, should not have been on the plane. They don't belong to the passengers on flight AF4590. Could a terrorist have smuggled a bomb onto the plane? It wouldn't be the first time. 270 people died in 1988 when terrorists planted a bomb in the luggage that destroyed a Pan Am 747 in the infamous Lockerbie incident. At Gonesse, investigators divide the Concorde crash site into a grid in order to make a meticulous search. They photograph and tag everything found in each section. It's a painstaking process, which takes 4 weeks. Then, every bit of wreckage is taken away for identification and analysis. 3 hangars at Le Bourget, another Paris airport, become their final resting place. This pile of debris is all that remains of the hotel. Such is the intensity of the crash and fire that a 40-room building is reduced to little more than a pile of rubble.